if I had to pick three humans to talk me through the next hour, you would be those three. Michael Steele, it cannot be said enough that both campaigns at this point see this the same way. Joe Biden, the person with multiple paths to 270, Donald Trump, it would appear, with a legal path to delaying the inevitable, which looks like a very, very, very long shot chance of hanging on to power. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, and that's how they've seen it for some time. This is not revelatory to the Trump campaign at this point. It's certainly not revelatory to the Biden campaign that, oh, wow, we have other options to get to 270. Oh, gee, we only have one way to get to 270. That's been kind of baked into this process for a few days leading up to this election, when you started seeing the just huge turnout in early vote and absentee ballot voting. When you were at the 50 million mark 10 days out, you were planning. And I know the Biden campaign was recalculating what that would mean in states like Michigan. They're tracking where that vote's coming from and how it's beginning to settle in the campaign infrastructure. So what we're seeing right now is two things happening. One, Donald Trump having the typical Donald Trump temper tantrum when he doesn't get his way. And two, his campaign having to respond to that temper tantrum. And just throw lawyers out like throwing spaghetti up against the wall at these states, and hoping that a judge somewhere who may be sleepy enough and not paying attention to what the law actually requires and gives them an opening to cause the kind of havoc that they think that they can get away with and sort of gum up the works.
Well, I mean, to that end, Rudy Giuliani, fresh off what Donald Trump describes as the Hunter Biden flop, is there doing what? Fill in the blank. What is Rudy Giuliani doing in Pennsylvania?
What? He's doing Rudy. What else is he doing? It ain't law. I mean, it's not. I mean, yeah, he's just doing Rudy. Next. It's just, All
right. Well, you just made me feel better about not zipping over and taking that live. But I mean, in all seriousness, I can't follow the thread on what in their heads the legal argument is, because last night in that atrocity, Donald Trump going to the East Room, further desecrating the premises, which I didn't think was possible after the Republican convention, by declaring fake victory, something so egregious. Chris Wallace, Chris Christie, and Rick Santorum kicked him in the teeth for doing it. Said he wanted voting to continue in Arizona. He wanted it to stop in Michigan. I just don't understand what the legal argument is if they have realized that the only avenue they have is a legal one.
Okay, so last night was just egregious on all levels and all fronts. It was an affront to everything we stand for as a republic and as a democracy. And the reality now is, again, as we saw from last night, Donald Trump did not read what was on the teleprompter. That was extemporaneous to Donald. That was riffing Donald. And so now everybody's trying to play cleanup and catch up to that. The problem and the truth is that in order to have a legal challenge, you have to prove that something illegal occurred. You have to prove that there was some type of defect in the law that requires a remedy by the court. And that defect would manifest itself in the process of counting the ballots. Well, they haven't finished counting the ballots. So you can't prove the defect until all the ballots are counted. And that's where this becomes a joke.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.